Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. Let's look at what we have to deal with today, starting with the planets and the stars right here. All right, so our moon sign today is in Pisces. Moon in Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. Water signs are signs of emotion. So we have the moon sign, or our subconscious mind, in the realms of the emotions. Our conscious mind, which is our sun sign, is on the last day of Leo before we move into the next sign. So we're at the last day of Leo, a fire sign all about creativity, ideas. And so we've got fire and water working together. Fire on the outside, water on the inside, and think of how those two elements work together in life. You can have the water, can get nice and warm if the fire's right, or the fire can get so hot it could dissipate the water, or the water could put out the fire. So they could work well together, or they could not work well together. Either way, that's how the energies work, so we have to pay attention how we mix them and work with them ourselves. We have a couple aspects we want to pay attention to today. We have a triangle here. In just a little bit, probably next 2 hours, which is between our moon sign Pisces and Saturn. Saturn's the planet of discipline, so there's this nice, good, harmonious aspect between our emotions and discipline. Okay, between our emotions and our ability to discipline our emotions, work with them, hone them in, maybe gather them together. And then later on this evening, there's another aspect, another triangle between Pisces and Jupiter. Jupiter's the planet of expansion. So our emotions have an opportunity then to expand a little bit, explore a little bit of what they are about, how they are our strength and can help us. All right? Move from there to our moon phase. Still shows at 100% full, but we are there making our way now down to the new moon again, where we will be again in 2 weeks. On the Mayan Oracle, 8-tone day right here. The kin for the day is the dog. Guide for the day is the wizard. So today would be the 8 dog, or the galactic dog, guided by the wizard. The phrase for today is, I harmonize in order to love, modeling loyalty. I seal the process of heart with the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of timelessness. Over at Spaceweather.com, our solar wind is at 450.8 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is up from where it was yesterday. We were between the 3 and the 4. We see our coronal holes have closed to some degree or another, at least the big one up here. But we do have several more, and as we know from coronal holes, they send solar wind out into the solar system. Sometimes it hits us, sometimes it doesn't. We just have to pay attention to see when it does and when it doesn't. Our M-class flare possibility is back down to 10% chance, but our geomagnetic storm activity is up 45% severe in the high latitudes and 35% in the mid latitudes, which means if you have a camera ready, you could get some good sky shows, things of that nature. For a little bit more insight, here's Suspicious Observer's report for today. Here we go.
Good morning, folks. Top story is from last night's news. A wildfire burning since late 2012 in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, in a caldera on top of a mountain. Locals are smelling a sulfurous smell, but the USGS and other geologists say there is no evidence of volcanic activity there. They're blaming shale gas fire underground. Shot of the day comes from NASA's Earth Observatory. Plumes over northern Australia and the Timor Sea. Leaking water tanks spreading radioactivity are the cause for increased alert at Fukushima. Latest global climate report is out, our monthly check against the daily U.S. records. Healthy mix of hot and cold anomalies on the map. Apart from another year of above average Antarctic sea ice, they've mostly highlighted the heat events. Guess that's why the U.S. is blank. You can also add Austria to the severe drought list. Literally every day for a month I've said the same thing. Storms sticking to southern Australia and New Zealand with that high pressure parked atop the larger island, keeping it mostly dry. Using WOW expert pressure charts to reveal the high pressure break between low pressure cells in Europe, one exiting the continent and another at the northern edge cresting now. Low pressure up the central states wants to pull all that air to the big low in Canada, but the high pressure out east also has a northward push to the western side of its clockwise drive. That forces moisture and energy north with this wind to meet what's coming down from Canada for severe storm threats this evening. Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean looking clear of tropical development, while south of Mexico we see yet another developing cell, and this one should pretty much run up the coastline this week. Taiwan and China coastlines, the time for warnings is over. It's there. Hope you are prepared. GOES shows X-ray solar flares picking up slightly. They make the signature emanating from the equator, but this degradation on the north and the south is something else. SOHO rates 92% certainty of this interplanetary shock signature. I'm around 99. ACE shows similar readings here. The geomagnetic disturbance is just beginning on the charts, while energetic flux and proton storms are possible today. The auroras lit up as it hit as well, and I believe this is the CME that both NOAA and NASA said would miss Earth from the M3 solar flare and coronal mass ejection August 17th that produced this blatant halo eruption. The rising speed following the density spike could indicate that the coronal hole stream due at Earth today was right on the heels of its plasma cloud. Regardless, as this event unfolds, another CME is headed our way. The massive filament eruption is now unquestionably going to impact Earth according to NASA and NOAA and your own two eyes. Cactus diagnoses this as a moderately speedy CME and shouldn't cause any electrical damage. Per last night's news, watch score dropped to 5 or even 4 between the coronal holes now and until this space weather fully envelops Earth. Full moon today, but more alignments follow this week. The score remains low for now, with the only significant shaking in the Kuril Islands, but this low will be brief and the watch score is trending back up. Eyes open. No fear, it's 6:55 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
All right, thank you very much for that report. Suspicious observers. All right, our theme for this week is Planet X, also known as Nibiru, or Nibiru, depending on how you want to pronounce that. Before I get into the video, let's get over here. I have a site. This is xfacts.com. Says here, where's the proof? Planet X, Nibiru, just the facts. Where's the proof? This is usually the first question people ask when presented with the idea that aliens exist or that we have been visited in the past by ancient astronauts. When a person does gain enough interest to start looking into topics such as aliens and UFOs, they must wade through a vast amount of information. I've spent over a decade researching various areas of ufology. My first interest in ufology was sparked by the structure on Mars and NASA explanation of the Cydonia region of Mars. Are the face and the pyramids on Mars connected with the ancient pyramids and Sphinx in Egypt? This led me into many other megalithic monuments around the world which are still here today from previous civilizations. Some of the structures include Giza. Display architectural and mathematical achievements still unmatched this day. The term Nibiru comes from the Sumerian cuneiform stone tablets and writings that are 6,000 years old. The term Nibiru means planet of the crossing. The Sumerian culture is the first recorded civilization on Earth called Sumerian, today's Iraq. It has been known throughout ensuing time periods as Sumer, Mesopotamia, and Babylon, all the same location where the Earth's first cultures show up on the Earth. The Sumerian culture is the oldest known civilization we know of based on the artifacts and the monuments that still remain. Stories throughout the English version of the Bible, today's modern version, speak of many events that changed the course of humanity in our past. If we look at the stories in the Bible as the historical accounts of what actually took place, then we need to research the origins of these stories. The Hebrew version of the Bible, known as the Old Testament, which is a much older version than the English tradition, is derived from the stories of the Sumerian culture. When we trace the origins of the Old Testament, we can see that it has been based on previous translations and subsequent older versions throughout history. Sumerian culture was the first civilization to invent writing as a complete writing language. Recorded stories that have been preserved throughout the modern-day biblical passages found in the Old and the New Testament, all of which speak of a time when man lived among their living gods here on earth. The Sumerians had 7 sacred tablets that explained our creation. These stories, preserved in stone, are now told to us in the form of an English version, the 7 days of creation. They also had a great flood, and how one of the gods chose to give a certain Sumerian man knowledge on how to build a boat that could withstand the great flood. All the stories in the Bible are just translated versions of the original Sumerian text that we still have today, preserved in stone, unchanged. Okay, you can see there's a lot more to this page. Here, a lot more information. I'm going to leave that for you to keep going. But as we've heard over time, this planet X, Nibiru, this is the planet where the Anunnaki came from. Okay, we've heard research out there, Eric von Däniken, Zecharia Sitchin, they've talked about this planet, they've talked about the ancient aliens who've come down here involved with genetic engineering. This is what we know of Nibiru. We also, though, know from the 7 days of creation, the tablets, that it describes Nibiru as perhaps like a space station, not a planet. Now, perhaps they're one and the same. Just because they have a planet doesn't mean it can't be a space station. Let's think to things like Star Wars. Star Wars had a huge space station in it that was shaped like the moon. So that's a movie. Who's not to say that that far advanced into history, we have a group of beings who are much more advanced and are able to create something like that. So there's a possibility. So I think that all of these ideas that we hear about certainly make sense, whether it's a brown dwarf star, whether it's a planet, whether it's a ship. Could be all one and the same. All one and the same. Regardless of what it is, there seems to be a lot of discussion about when it is and what is the sign that it is coming in. We do see a lot of signs down here on Earth. The signs that we see would be signs that are earth-changing events. The reason this is because we are told that as this heavenly body gets closer to our planet and the other systems that are around it, and there's a sun attached to it because it's part of another solar system. With all of these things, we're told that as it comes into closer and closer, and our sun is affected by the gravitational pull of this and the other orbits and objects with it, that our planet is affected. And our planet has been affected in the past, we are told, where the great floods have occurred and we've had earthquakes and all these other events. So the question is this the same thing that's going on now? In the book of Enoch says, so as in the days of Noah, things will be like this again. So we are reminded that in the end times, we will see things like we've read about before. The gods down here on earth. And remember, those down here weren't necessarily God, but beings that came down to earth and assisted the process of humanity evolution, humanity evolving through genetic engineering. So that's a different process than the actual process of God. That is something a little different. So here is a video called Nibiru, the Signs and Proof. And this video does get into exactly what I'm talking about, a number of those things that we might look as signs, earth-changing events. This is a interesting piece here, so let's check it out. See what you think.
The signs For many years now, our Earth has been going through massive Earth changes. One of the prime examples of this occurring is the huge amount of sinkholes that are appearing globally. The big question is, what is causing these sinkholes to appear? As I've been putting out for many years now, the sinkholes, I believe, are caused because of the United States and other countries that are building huge underground survival locations around our planet and are making the crust of our Earth very unstable, which is causing these sinkholes to appear.
Sinkholes everywhere, all around the world. We've seen many of these. Pretty good sized ones too, huh?
The signs. Another global event that's taking place right now and has been for a number of years is the huge amounts of animals of many species that are dying for no apparent reason. We have huge amounts of birds that are falling from the sky and being found dead. We have millions of fish of many different species that are being washed ashore on our coastlines, dead. We have crabs that's being washed ashore on our coastline in massive numbers, dead. We have whales and dolphins being beached, many of them dying. We have bees that are dying in massive numbers around our planet. What's causing this to happen? Could the elites know that there is going to be some event happen on our planet very soon that will make living on the surface of our planet impossible? Could this be why they're spending trillions of dollars building huge underground survival locations?
You know, we see all these die-offs and
the signs.
Really
the weather
natural.
systems on our planet have been going through rapid change over many years. As you can see in this footage, flooding is happening not in just one country, but in many countries around our planet, and it seems to be happening on a more regular basis. We also have huge amounts of severe hurricanes and tornadoes and cyclones and typhoons that are occurring on a regular basis. But as you can see in this footage, we're having extremes of heat and cold in many locations around our planet. This is a prime example of Australia that has been having all-time record temperatures. And just look at these fires that are raging or have been raging in Australia. This is just one example of what is happening on our planet. What's causing the extremes of heat and freezing conditions to occur? This is not a normal occurrence. This is becoming very serious for all the humans that are living on the surface of our planet. As you can see in this footage, chemtrailing is happening more often than not. In the mornings and in late evenings, as the sun rises and the sun sets, you will see the chemtrailing taking place. What don't they want us to see? What are they hiding from the public's view? It seems to be these chemtrails are happening on a more regular basis in front of the sun. It's always in front of the sun. What don't they want us to see? But not just that, it has been proved that toxics are being put in these chemtrails. And it has been reported that some humans are getting serious illnesses because of what they're breathing in from these chemtrails. Are they trying to reduce the global population of our people? This, my friends, is a very high possibility. The signs with more powerful earthquakes and volcanic activity are happening around our planet. What is causing this to occur? Well, for some reason, the tectonic plates of our planet are becoming very unstable. Is this reason to believe that the poles are already shifting? and this is a byproduct of what is causing these earthquakes and volcanic activity to happen on a more regular basis? And have you noticed, since the beginning of this year, 2013, the amount of earthquakes that are being reported have been downsized to a minute amount? The reason, I believe, is because the elite are now censoring earthquake monitoring sites. That's why you never get to hear about them. And just look at this tsunami that happened in Japan when that earthquake struck. Just look, is this a normal event? Categorically no, guys. There's something seriously going on our planet, and the elite and all the powers that be know what's causing it, and that is why they've been constructing massive amounts of underground survival locations. The signs, the proof, our elite have been preparing for this coming event for decades. This is incredible footage of the deep underground survival bunkers that they have, and have spent trillions of dollars putting these bunkers together. Some people claim that these bunkers go down at least 2 miles. 2 miles some of these bunkers go down. Some of them below the oceans of our planet. They even suggest that there is an electromagnetic rail system that's linking the continents below your very feet. This is what's going on your planet, guys. Just look at the amount of money that's been put into building these huge, huge underground survival bunkers for the elite, for their proxies, for the controllers of our planet. The controllers have even made sure that food can be grown on a huge scale below the surface of our planet. Why would they do this if there was nothing to happen that was going to cause an extinction level event on our planet? They've also been storing massive amounts of food. They've been buying up massive amounts of food and water. Why do this if no extinction level event is going to happen on our planet very soon? Why would they spend trillions and trillions of dollars over decades building these huge, massive constructions below your very feet if no extinction level event was going to happen? The answer to that is, guys, they wouldn't unless they knew for sure what was coming.
Alright, I'm going to leave the rest of the video for you. You know, whenever I see these underground bunkers, it reminds me, I don't, I'm just paraphrasing, but it reminds me there's a passage in the Bible about how that they will run to the underground and that will become their tomb. It's based on fear. They're afraid. They're afraid that their lives are going to be in danger, so they're running underground. Yet, we are told by Great Spirit, do not be afraid. If you remember the video from yesterday, the message of the Mayas, it was to not be afraid, that during the time of transition, we need to sit in a place of love. So, yes, there are signs that there is something going on. Yes, there are those that are making preparations to run underground. Yes, there is a cover-up on information so that the general public isn't made aware of all of this for the most part, because I guess there's the fear that if the general public knew what was going on, they would want to find a way to get into the bunkers as well, and well, that causes a big problem. So is that a reason for all of this weaponry? Is there going to be a time when people are going to rush to get to the bunkers and then they're going to have to fight to keep people out? I don't know. But to me it seems like it's all about fear and love. We need to stay in love. We need to not get in fear. If we get in fear, then we're going to buy into all the nonsense that's going on. But we're told over and over and over again in our books, in our prophecy, in the messages from the natives of this planet, that this transition has happened before. Civilizations have lived through it. It's important the mindset you're in, because there's something very significant going on here. So let's just stay in love. Let's not get caught up in fear. Let's pay attention to what's going on out there. It's very important. But remember, love is the key in all of this. Alright? UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today I have 4 stories. Story number 1. Okay, remember the incident over Kentucky, the UFO sighting? Well, Google declines comment on the Kentucky UFO incident they claim was Project Loon. So right off the bat, we can see that this is the object that was shown, and this is what they apparently are claiming that it is. Okay? Remember, there's that show called, was it Sesame Street or Electric? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things doesn't belong. Remember that? So it's all we got to do is think back to those times and those songs, and we can look and say, gee, this doesn't look like this. Huh. They're trying to tell us that this is this, but I have 2 eyes and I can see, and I could see that this and this are different. Wonder what they're trying to do. Is it a mystery solved or a cheap publicity stunt? In October 2012, Lex 18 told viewers about an unidentified flying object spotted in the southeastern Kentucky sky. The company, Google, has now taken responsibility for the strange object, but the Pike County amateur astronomer who photographed it said he doesn't buy their explanation. The picture snapped by longtime amateur astronomer Ellen Epling shows a slim, seemingly cylindrical object flying through the sky. When I looked through the binoculars, I saw something that I couldn't identify, and I'd never seen anything like it before, Epling recalled. The mystery captured the attention of the national media outlets. Police in at least 3 states were contacted by people who claimed to have seen the UFO. What folks in Pike County and the surrounding area witnessed, according to Google, was a test of Project Loon. The new program consists of balloons that fly high above the Earth's surface, forming a communication network. The aim is to bring the internet to a large proportion of the world's population who otherwise wouldn't be connected. The photos of balloons that Google launched don't match the video of what I saw, Epling told Lex 18 on Monday. It'd be easy for one to say, that's my object, I take credit for it, and Google may be looking for some cheap publicity. Lex 18 reached out to Google for comment. While the company said this was in fact their balloon photograph, they declined to go further. Again, we look at this object.
Of national media outlets, police.
There we go. Let me just get over to the image. Well, we've seen the image. Okay. There's our 2 images right here, right? Again, they're trying to say it's this, but our eyes see this. So are we going to play the game of saying, okay, we don't know how to think for ourselves, and if they're telling us it's this, then we know that what we're really seeing is not this, but this, right? Wrong answer. We know what our eyes see, and we don't need them to tell us what our eyes see. All we need to do is use our own brains. How about that? That's a concept. Use our own brains. UFOs or orbs hovering over Saint-Germain-lès-Corbeil, France. This was on the 10th. All right. This is a... There you go. Couple of lights there. We've certainly seen these plenty of times, and that pretty much, there you go, little other view of them. Alright, so that's a good capture right there. Let's move on from there. This is a story. You've heard of Travis Walton and the abduction story, and there's a whole movie about it called Fire in the Sky. Well, this is a really, really good interview with Travis Walton. I'm going to play just a small little portion of it for you. Okay, so you can get a sample of it. Here we go.
Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and this program is about a changing model of who we are as human beings. And I think a big part of that is an interaction with otherworldly beings. And within the short span of 50 or 60 years, there's been a whole history of people who've had direct interactions with these beings, and tonight's guest is probably one of the more well-known among those people. His name is Travis Walton. His story inspired Fire in the Sky, and which is a movie made about his experiences in 1975 with a crew of loggers in the woods of Arizona. Probably one of the most dramatic cases of encounters. And welcome, Travis, to the program. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Alan.
Wasn't there a time where you weren't being so public with your story, and now you seem to be out more? What's gone on with you in the last few years in your relationship to this event?
Well, it's been off and on for me over the years. When I very first, when it happened, I tried to not do interviews, but I found out if I turned an interview down, it didn't make the story go away. It just made it more negative than it would be if I, had my 2 cents worth in there. So I was kind of stuck with it, and but nevertheless, there's still been periods of time where I just kind of bowed out and didn't do interviews or accept invitations to speak or anything. But
all right, I'm going to move on here because it's a long interview. It's an hour and 24 minutes long. Just wanted to give you the little brief taste of it. Hey, if you've never heard Travis Walton speak, listen to him. I've met him a number of occasions over in Roswell and at the UFO events that I go to. Very humble man. A lot of good insight. Just so you know, the event that occurred to him and what happened in the Hollywood movie aren't necessarily the same. Hollywood does what Hollywood does. They Hollywoodized his experience. But when you listen to him talk, he'll tell you that's not what he experienced. That was Hollywood's version. Listen to his version. It's completely different and gives you a bit more insight of what's going on. Hollywood played the fearful route, and it's not all about fear. Okay? Moving on to the next story here. This last one is a UFO book that's available. It says, Why I Decided to Make My Disclosure Book Free by Ed Comark. Folks can now read the disclosure book, UFOs, Exopolitics, and the New World Disorder, free on all devices from the book's webpage, or download on a PDF. And over the years, I have been able to distribute around 6,000 copies in print and Kindle through Amazon. About 90% of the books were distributed as free Kindle downloads, part of the special promotion process. I've decided to make the book free because I feel I must put disclosure above personal gain. And here we have a link here to that book, so you can go and get it. There you go. That's our UFO news for today. Check out the book. Check out the links. I'll be right back. I've got more news.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
Alrighty, moving right along. Okay, this very first story here is parents. This is something important. You know how we're seeing more and more stories of problems that they're having in the schools, not with the children, but the problems with the rules that they're setting in place. Unfortunately, children these days are having to be subject to the vaccine programs, the different educational teachings that they are being given. They're being taught about the New World Order. They're being taught history that's revisionist history. Some school books have removed Thomas Jefferson from it, so they're not learning about that. On and on and on. There's a variety of problems. We hear about drills that are going on in schools, live drills with the children that are there. It's nonsense. And as a parent, boy, you really got to pay attention to what's going on with the kids these days. A lot more than in the past, because it seems as if there's so many challenges out there. So here's one. It says, school security changes have parents dropping kids at the curb. This is in Dallas. For some time, it's been a tradition that has taken place for generations. Security enhancements at many North Texas schools this year may keep parents at the curb. All of the extra security is in response to what happened nearly 9 months ago at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown. It was the December of last year when a gunman opened fire at the school, killing 20 students and 6 adults. In the Hearst L's Buford Independent School District, the tradition of walking one young one to class won't change, but for the first time this week, what's already happening is being done in other districts is about to happen there. Parents registered and enrolled their children today, 1 week before the school begins for the HEB school system, but there's a new rule waiting for parents like Tamara Moore and Angela Shablin. It deals with access to their youngsters, and both mothers have a certain view about the rule. I really want to take my son to class since it's his first time in school, Morris said protectively. They have security, but I want to know where my kid is going at all times. Shamblin had a different viewpoint as she dropped off her little one. As long as I can see him walk into the building, that will be fine, because once he's in this building, they'll take care of him. Yeah, they'll take care of him, all right. They're going to teach him ways to listen to them and not to listen to you. And isn't it sad that we have done so much research and there's so much information out there about Sandy Hook? Isn't it a sad state of affairs that we have school systems that are basing their policies on what we know to be a false flag event? That a lie about what happened in Sandy Hook has now set a precedent. Isn't that sad for this country? That how we have allowed ourselves to be guided by misinformation? Sad state of affairs. But for those who are paying attention, we understand that we're living in the times where there's going to be a lot of people that are fooled. So if you're one of those who's not being fooled, count yourself as one of the lucky ones, and know that in the prophecy, you are one of those being written of as one of those who are going to move through times because you're not being fooled. So pat yourself on the back for that. You're moving in the right direction. Don't be fooled. All right, remember about SOPA, the internet bill that was going out there, and then it got upheld? Well, now they're trying to do some more stuff with it. So here's a petition for you to sign. Obama's Commerce Department wants to revive one of SOPA's worst provisions, making unauthorized streaming a felony. Here we go again. The Obama administration apparently hasn't been paying close attention in the past 2 years. Let's put it plainly. The American people don't want SOPA-style internet censorship, period. The Commerce Department Internet Policy Task Force has proposed making it a felony to stream copyrighted content. Interpreted broadly, the proposal would apply to anyone who uploads a YouTube video of themselves covering a song without permission, a video without copyrighted music playing in the background, with copyrighted in the background, even your friend's embarrassing karaoke performance or your family singing happy birthday to you. The federal government wants to make streaming, including material which falls under the public performance category, punishable by years in prison. As pointed out last time they had tried this, many artists depend on uploading YouTube covers to jumpstart their careers, including the young Justin Bieber. And many others enjoy streaming creative interpretations of existing songs on their own websites or blogs. The proposal would make both subject to felony prosecution. The thing is, we stopped them before, from SOPA to PIPA to CISPA. We can stop them again. So it's very important they want to do this. One of the things that they seem to fail to realize is there's a policy called fair use. Fair use allows people to do and use material out there. If you are playing a video in the background, there is music that's being played, and that music isn't incidental to what the piece is, if it's not a matter of that piece, there's certain ways in which that music and the piece can be used. There's a lot of information under fair use that covers people doing streaming for a variety of reasons. So for the government to just step in, the Commerce Department, that means they're trying to supersede copyright law. And that's not right. It's just another instance where the government is overstepping their bounds. So what we have here is there is a form. Just click on this link here, skip to the form here, and you can sign this out. Put your name, email address, if you want to put a comment, and sign it. Okay? Do this. Let them know that you don't approve of this policy. At least let your voice be heard. They may not listen, because we know that they don't always listen to what the people have to say, but at least your voice will be heard. Now, here's a story I wanted to play this because we hear stories about the NFL players and sports athletes, and a lot of people. There's a lot of those who think it's all nonsense that we're paying attention to all of these things. But hey, why not? We need outlets in life. These games, they're fun, they're entertaining. If people want to play this and that's what they want to do in their life, great. I personally like football. I like watching it. I think there's nothing wrong with it, and we got to have something to be able to occupy some of our time down here, and why not, right? So this is a story here about the Miami Dolphins, and not everybody on the Dolphins is really happy with Obama because they've been invited to the White House. This story says White House not disappointed. Some Miami Dolphins refused to attend ceremony. The White House said Monday it is not disappointed that some members of the 72 Miami Dolphins have decided not to attend a White House ceremony Tuesday that honors them 41 years after they won the Super Bowl. No, people are certainly allowed to make whatever decision they'd like to make on that, White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary Josh Earnest said when asked whether the White House was disappointed that several members of the team won't appear with President Barack Obama because of political differences. Hall of Famer Jim Langer told the South Florida Sentinel, "We've got some real moral compass issues in Washington. I don't want to be in a room with those people and pretend I'm having a good time. I can't do that. If that anchors people, so be it." Good for you, Langer. Manny Fernandez told the paper, "I just say my views are diametrically opposed to the president's. Enough said. Let it be at that. I hope everyone enjoys the trip who goes," Fernandez says. Bob Kuchenberg, former offensive lineman for the Dolphins, says, "I want to be careful because my mom said if you have nothing good to say about someone, then don't say anything." "I don't have anything good to say about someone," Kuchenberg said. "I just don't believe in this administration at all, so I don't belong. Anyone on the left or the right has to respect one man's opinion." "I don't belong there, I'll tell you that," Kuchenberg added. "Without being critical, I can just tell you I don't belong. It would be hypocritical of me to be there. I don't want to do that. I just don't believe in the administration at all, so I don't belong." Anyone to the left or right? Okay. So, there you have it. So, good. It's just another example of more people standing up against Obama and his dictatorship regime. Yes, it is a dictatorship regime. All you have to do is pay attention. You've seen what's going on with him, and you realize that something is not right with that situation. But all the world's indeed a play and stage, and we are merely players. So this is a grand play, and he, like all the others, are playing out their parts. But don't worry, you're playing out your part too. Everybody has a role in this play. And just because they have their role, and just because they have their plans, doesn't mean they're successful. When you watch a movie, at the end, does the good guy win or the bad guy win? Most of the time, the good guy wins. So all we have to do is bide our time, and we're going to come out on top. And all of those who are the warmongers and the problem makers of this planet, well, their days are coming to a close because the dark is leaving, and this is the time of the light. This is the time when all of those outdated attitudes are going away, and a time when all of the love and the positivity and everything is coming in to replace that. We do have some challenges ahead because there is a transition that we need to adjust to, but we can do this. There doesn't have to be any violence at all. I don't advocate violence, regardless of some of the things I say to rile people up. I advocate you thinking for yourself, standing up for yourself. And if you can do that, there doesn't need to be violence. If we inform everybody about what's going on and we can get on the same page with the correct information, we can solve a lot of problems right there. But we're not paying attention, at least not on the whole. A lot of people aren't. If only they would. Okay, so we've heard the stories about Earth changes and Nibiru and ISON and all the things that are going on. We hear the stories of martial law possibilities and government interventions and all this other nonsense that's out there. So what do? Well, we want to be prepared. We don't want to be fearful, but we want to be smart. We want to make sure we're prepared. So in the eventuality that something happens, like our power goes out, we can deal with it for a short period of time. If we can't get to the store, we have supplies that we can have. If there's an emergency and someone's hurt, that we have some basic, emergency supplies around. That's all it is. Thinking ahead, being prepared, so in situations where we might need to use these skills or this knowledge, we have it at our disposal. So here's an article that says 5 things you can do in one weekend to become better prepared. Getting started with preparedness can be overwhelming. Most people immediately focus on how much gear they need or how much they don't have. Then you worry about how much all this is going to cost and where the money is coming from. It does not have to be like that. Here's a list of 5 easy and free activities you can do this weekend and will instantly be a lot better off in terms of preparedness than you were last weekend. Okay? Just simple stuff, folks. Go shopping in your own home. Take a small box of laundry basket with you and go through your home. Look at all the closets and the boxes and the garbage. Pick up all the items that will come in handy in the next emergency. Find flashlights, matches, lighters, camping lanterns, sleeping bags, or even just extra blankets. Old battery-operated radio, extra toilet paper, trash bags, etc. Even forgotten gift cards with a few cents left on them will help your prepping efforts. All too often people forget what they already have lying around. When they go through this exercise, I myself have discovered items I've forgotten, among including gifts that I have received, gift cards I could actually use the next time I need something. Clean empty soda bottles and start filling them with water. To disinfect a bottle, just add a teaspoon of bleach to a gallon of water. Rinse the soda bottle with this, then rinse well with tap water. Fill it up with tap water, use a permanent marker, add a date to the bottle. This way you'll remember when the bottle was filled. You can also partially fill some of the bottles, leaving a few inches for expansion, and freeze them. Then you will have ice to keep the freezer cold the next time there's a power outage. Back up your cell phone address book with a hard copy. I used to store all my phone numbers in a cell phone, except I had the few that I had memorized. One day I was talking to my brother and the cell phone ran out of battery life. I wanted to call him on a landline, which I realized I could not remember his phone number, and the cell phone would not turn on until it was sufficiently charged. Luckily, it was a short-term situation. I backed up all my contact numbers to an old address book the next day. I know it's a chore, but one day you'll be glad you have it. 4. Plan multiple routes out of your city and write them down. Most people rely on the phone for directions, or GPS devices. In an emergency, you may not be able to access the electronic maps. Why not plot out various emergency routes out of your city or town now while there is nothing going on? Find routes via car, foot, bicycle. Get familiar with the street maps, write down directions to get out. And 5, choose one survival skill, practice doing it. You can try filtering and disinfecting water, making a fire, assembling a tent, learning CPR by watching an instructional video, etc. There's a lot of things you can do to be prepared that are not too time-consuming. So, remember, the whole idea is not for us to be standing solo all the time, but to learn to work together. So if everybody learns something, if everybody takes a little responsibility for this in preparing yourself, then if a situation occurs, we can all pitch in and help each other out because we all have some skills and some things that we can do. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming situation. And once we've done our preparation and we have things in a state of preparedness, we can put our mind at ease because we don't have to think about that anymore. And a lot of times that's enough to really take a person from a place of fear to love, because fear comes being afraid that you're not going to be able to take care of yourself and your family. Do the things necessary so that you know if a situation occurs, you can take care of them, the fear goes away. Okay, then it's just having to deal with whatever the event is that we're dealing with. And that's going to have its own energy, of course. So, moving on. Okay, the universe is filled with all sorts of amazing ways of communicating with us. Words, we certainly know about words. Numbers is certainly one thing we know, numerology. Colors is also very important. When we do the meditations, we talk about the colors of the chakra system and how these colors are important. By visualizing the colors, it helps us to visualize what that particular energy is, how it works, and so on. Well, here's an article. It's called The Spiritual Meaning of Colors. It's a good article here. It says, according to David Icke, we are only capable of seeing a limited range of colors, and we are able to see the frequency range beyond the visible light. Icke believes that a certain race of extraterrestrials called reptilians operate in a different frequency outside visible light and manipulate our current reality through Illuminati families. Through near-death experiences, we have heard numerous times people who temporarily passed to the other side, and upon their return, they have stated they saw various indescribable colors that we are unable to see with our current light frequency. Many people believe that dogs can only see in black and white, but the truth is they can see limited colors, as they only have approximately 20% of the core photoreceptor cells that humans have. Photoreceptor cells are the part of the eye that controls our perception of color. Chakras. Our bodies have 7 chakra receptors or life force prana called chakras. Each chakra vibrates in response to a different color. The word chakra is Sanskrit. It means wheel or turning, but in yoga context, chakra means vortex or whirlpool. In her book, True Balance by Sonia Choquette, she mentions how to use the green color if you are sad or depressed, A non-spiritual descriptor of this color is often associated with envy, as in green with envy, but Choquette advises to go outside in nature and observe all of the green around you, because through nature and the predominance of the color green, it will lift your spirits. Okay, and then we have the elements. Many indigenous cultures not only honor all aspects of life, but directions as well. Each direction of north, south, east, and west have corresponding element and color. Okay, and it has a list of all the different colors here. And then, of course, crystals and gemstones. They have specific properties and benefits, many which either align to your chakras or to similar descriptive benefits of candle colors. Then our auras, we know about the colors of those. If you ever had an opportunity to get a picture taken with a Carillion photography, you could see all the different colors there. And the auras show us things about ourselves, where our energies are. So it's really cool that we have all these systems, and colors are very important. And I think that we've been misled on some of the colors. For example, the example given, we hear green with envy. Well, green is associated with the heart chakra and with love. But if we are told that green is of envy, then that's not really getting us into a place of looking at what green is really about. When we go outside, we see the green of nature, the green of abundance. Green becomes envious when it becomes about money and when it becomes about things that are unnatural. But when you look at nature all around us, there's something very significant about all of these colors, why they are there, the purpose of them. So let's, pay attention more to the colors about things, what they mean. See how that connects with your consciousness, and you'll find that it's an additional way in which to understand the energies around you. Okay? Alright, let's jump over here to our angel message for today. Click on our little angel, and the message is: please listen to and follow the steps I am communicating through your intuition, thoughts, and dreams. So the angels are saying to listen and follow the steps that they are communicating through your intuition, your thoughts, and your dreams. Very important. Again, it's a good confirmation for us all that we are being guided. We do have angels around us. They pay attention to us. When we talk to them, they talk back to us. Maybe not in words, but through things that we see, through sound, through color, through dreams, intuition. By paying attention, we learn to understand all of these things and ways in which they communicate. Alright, here is our message of today. This is the Angeloi of the Elohim.
Beloved ones, we are here with you as you now move into position in order to walk through the gateways that are now opening. These gateways are the dimensional timelines that are accessible through the universe of three in truth. As Mother Earth now has begun to find her balance and remembered how to breathe, then she is able to provide the stability required of the host planet. This stability will see that which is often termed impossible begin to unfold around you and through you. For you are vast beings of light. As you release and let go of the 3D Earth paradigms and the frequencies that have kept you chained to the lower dimensional timelines, then you gain access to these new higher dimensional timelines and realities. We guide for clarity that this has never been attempted before in your human physical form in your waking reality. Many of you may be experiencing various physical symptoms, and we guide for you to allow all to flow. Do not allow the logical human mind to try to teach that you are ill or that all is not well. You are merely physically adjusting to being in a new vibrational space. The connections to those around you will now intensify, and it is vital that you begin to find balance and to detach from the lower dimensional timelines fully. This may provoke many reactions from those around you who are unaware of the vibrational changes that are now anchoring upon and within Mother Earth. Trying to readjust to their lower energetic signatures is of no servitude, for this will prolong the leaving process that many of you are now entering. The walk through the new dimensional timeline doorways at all times is guided by your soul. Some of you may go into various different dimensional timelines that overlap briefly with what is dissolving. This is to ensure the smooth transition from one reality to another. This is needed at a human conscious waking mind level so as to cause as little discomfort to the human vehicle as possible. This may be reflected in your outer waking reality as others becoming more supportive or moving from you. There will no longer be any middle ground, as the frequency ranges are now too far apart to accommodate this. For those of you who are on accelerated ascension timelines, in order to further help from within the human race, you will now find the expansion of all to be of benefit. Viewing the world as the frequency and vibration that it is in truth will allow you to circumvent many of the holding patterns that are available as a respite from the acceleration. Let us confirm this further for you at this time. There are many different 3D overlays that are created at this point. All 3D overlays work to serve those around you and not you necessarily. This is to allow for the flow of those who are here to serve at higher levels to move into place. So very human scenarios are created around them in order to allow them to be in certain places at certain times. We wish for all to become more mindful at human conscious waking mind level of the 3D overlays in order to help them make sense of all that now unfolds around them and through them. All is in transition at this point. There are no final resting points to be established until transition fully to the new Earth and the chosen dimensional timeline has been reached. This may show as chaos or upheaval, and we guide for you to find and maintain balance as much as possible. Viewing everything beyond the human experience is the key to working with these energies. At a human society level, there will be announcements that can only be made now that Mother Earth has achieved her balance in the universe of three in truth. The disclosure process will now expand and deepen as all now move into place and begin the process that will see the human race reunited with all in truth. We draw your human conscious waking minds to the astrological alignments that are due to take place in your waking reality, and we draw your attention to the sacred geometrical shape of Metatron's cube. We ask for you to anchor this shape in each energy center within your human vehicle to allow the unlocking of further coding that you birthed into and within upon incarnation into the human race. These codings will become fully active and live over the coming linear days in your waking reality. We place the coding of 333 within the heart space of all at this time, and we ask for the cellular memories to be reset to the original blueprint of the human race. As you work to come into balance, you are now preparing to receive the coding that will be unveiled upon the planet by our human emissaries who are being energetically prepared to activate these new codings and blueprint. All is not as it appears to the naked human eye upon planet Earth, and we guide that you are now in the process that will see you understand your origins and your creation in truth. We are the Archangeloi, and we walk with you at all times. We have always walked with you, and now our human emissaries will begin the work to align heaven on earth as in heaven, for all are one and all are in truth.
Very nice, very nice. All right. So, onward for our meditation for today. You know, the one thing I think that's important to remember in all of this is we're in a spiritual battle. A spiritual battle. And this spiritual battle has been talked about. It's in all of our books and prophecies and so on. It's a battle between the light and the dark. And there are those choosing sides. They have definitely chosen sides. Down here on Earth, I would say that those who are involved for the most part with our governments and the religions and the organizations of the world, they're on the side of the dark. We might see examples of this in everything that they're doing. And then we have the spiritual side. You can tell the division when there are those who are promoting spirituality and those who are promoting war. Two different concepts. So that's what's at odds with each other. And we need to pay attention at all times that this is a spiritual war, and we need to go to the spirit to find the solution. So as we do this meditation, let's contemplate that idea. Let's contemplate the idea of just really connecting in with spirit. Let's take a deep breath. Exhale. Close your eyes. I want you to imagine all of your chakras are activated. Starting with the chakra at the top of your head, I want you to imagine the color violet. Imagine all this energy, light pouring down into your crown chakra, that violet chakra, and moving on down slowly. And as the energy moves down from the crown chakra, it moves down just between the two eyeballs, right between the two eyes, to the third eye. And the third eye color is indigo. And then imagine the light coming down further into the throat, and imagine the color blue. And then see the light continuing down the middle of the chest, stopping in the heart, and there it becomes green. And from there you continue going down just below the rib cage, and the color is yellow. Down further yet to the stomach area, right at the belly button, orange, and finally to the crown chakra, which is the very bottom of the spine. Imagine the color red, and then the light and energy continues down into the earth. And there you are, this being of energy, with energy passing through you, from the crown chakra to the root chakra down into the earth. And you are connected to the cosmos and to the earth. You're connected to all that is, was, and ever shall be. And as you are connected to all of this energy, I want you to feel the essence of this energy. And as you feel the essence of this energy, I want you to remember the ideas and the words that we are told over and over again, that we are in a spiritual battle. So I want you to feel this energy, this spiritual energy. Feel what it's like, how it moves. And now take yourself out of this place for a moment and experience and imagine you're looking at life. The daily circumstances of life, and just observing. And as you observe the daily circumstances of life and you see what we do in the news and the stories and the lies and the cover-ups, we see a definite difference, and we realize that these events that take place run in contradiction to the spiritual, and we understand that this is where the battle lies. So as we live in the physical, we are challenged to reach for the spiritual. And on a daily basis, we run into those who are in the physical who do not wish to go to the spiritual, but only wish to deal with the physical. And that is our challenge. To be able to reach, to look beyond. So imagine yourself sitting in that spiritual, looking beyond and seeing how these two energies challenge each other. And imagine yourself now going to the spiritual energy and using that energy and feeling it and expanding it outward. And as it expands outward, it has a light to it. It has a vibration to it. It has a love to it. And just imagine this energy going all around the planet and changing all of the darkness into light. Changing all of those people who are confused into clear thoughts. And changing all of those who are causing problems into those who have become humble and wish to help. And as you are aware of how the spiritual works, you know that there is not a soul upon this planet that can resist. So we just keep sending this out. And we keep reminding ourselves and keep aware that this is a spiritual battle. And as such, we keep refining our soul and finding ways to allow Spirit to guide us. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Let the subconscious mind continue on its journey, exploring life, exploring spirit. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. There you have it, my friends. That is it for today. That is our show. Thanks for being here. Look, it's a spiritual battle. But we can get through all of this. Because if you remember all the words of the prophecies that are out there, they all talk about winning at the end. The darkness doesn't win. The light wins. All the evildoers, they don't win. God wins. So we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to listen to all of their stories about fear-mongering and war and the nonsense that keeps us down. We just need to trust. Trust in the higher power, whatever you want to call it. God, Great Spirit, Divine Providence. Trust in that. And you will find that your life will have much more meaning than if you get caught up in all the other nonsense and the fearful things that are out in the world. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, be safe, have a great day. Peace. I'm out of here.